What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. So with the release of 5.6, Unreal Engine has a ton of updates. So this tutorial is going to be how I create custom clothes for Metahumans in Marvelous Designer using the LiveSync pipeline between Unreal Engine and Marvelous Designer to toss clothes quickly back and forth in 5.6. Let's jump right in. To create a new Metahuman, we're just going to right click here and come down to Metahuman and create a new Metahuman character. We're going to call this Demo Boy. All right, let's go ahead and open that up. This tutorial isn't going to be too much about the Metahuman specifics. This isn't Metahuman setup centric. This is custom clothes centric. We're going to jump through the Metahuman creator here. Let's just go ahead and pick a preset here. Let's start with Orlando. All right, there's our boy. Here's our Metahuman right here. First thing we want to do is get rid of his clothes. So we're going to come down here and double click on his clothes there. Now we've got him in his skivvies. So this will be our skeleton that we put the clothes on in Marvelous Designer. Download him body and face textures. Here's our boy, Orlando Demo Boy. So the next thing we're going to do is come up to our Metahuman creator and we want to export combined skeleton mesh. We're going to call this Demo Boy. And we're going to save that here. Now that we have that skeleton saved, that's what we're going to use to send to Marvelous Designer. The fact that Unreal Engine now allows you to easily export a full rigged skeleton that easily is a huge step forward. So now, once we have that exported, we can send that to Blender, we can send it to any DCC, but for now, that's the skeleton we're going to reference for Marvelous Designer. Okay, let's go ahead, and this guy looks pretty good. Let's just go ahead and assemble him. All right, our Metahuman has finished exporting. So if we come to Metahumans, here is our boy right here. So we can drag him in. Now that we have our Metahuman created and the skeleton ready for Marvelous Designer, the next step is to download and set up the LiveSync plugin for Unreal Engine. We're going to open up Fab and we're going to pull that over here. And we're going to search for LiveSync. And this is it. So we're going to want to click on this guy and we're going to want to add to library. So mine's already in my library. And then you're going to view in launcher. So then you'll come to your launcher and this is where you'll see it right here as I've already installed it. But you will want to come in here into your Epic Games launcher and install it to your 5.6 engine. Once you have your LiveSync plugin installed in through the manager, then we have to come up to our plugins and enable it. So we're going to type in LiveSync, and we're going to make sure that this is checked as well. So once you do that, you'll probably have to restart and come back in. Let me be clear, you do not have to use the LiveSync method. All you have to do is export this skeleton and import that straight into Marvelous Designer. I'm just going to show this workflow that I use because it is more helpful. I think it's a little quicker and speeds up some parts such as the texturing process. You do not have to use LiveSync. There are other ways to export the skeleton into Marvelous Designer. All right, now that we have enabled LiveSync plugin, we're going to open up our skeletal mesh that we created. This includes the head and body, which is super crucial. So I'm going to go down to create asset, create an animation, and a reference pose. Boy, anim for him. Okay. Our animation is prepped and our skeleton is ready to be pulled into Marvelous Designer. All right, we're in Marvelous Designer. You just want to make sure that you have it open and running. Let's jump back into Unreal Engine here. You'll notice at the top there's a new button called LiveSync up here. Look at that. So we have this, boom, boom. So if we were to export an animation right now, we would want to send the geometry cache. But because this is just the skeletal mesh, all we're going to do is send the skeletal mesh. But before we do that, we need to jump into this new selection mode that popped up called Clo MD LiveSync. And yes, we do need to install this. This pops up. But if we go to the Epic Games launcher to do that, you'll notice that it's not even available for 5.6 yet. So I guess there's a support form. Oh, here we go. Look at this. There we go. We don't know. This was posted 3 days ago and a week ago. No one knows yet. But anyway, when it updates, you'll also have to update for this as well. All right, now that we're in the Flow LiveSync Manager, you want to make sure you have the green connection status, and that is good. All right, so now that we have Marvelous Designer open and our LiveSync prep, let's go to LiveSync, send it over with skeletal mesh, and we'll just enable and export all of this. So now that we're in Marvelous Designer, this is not a Marvelous Designer modeling or clothes creation tutorial. If you want to see that, pause this video right now. Go check out all the million Marvelous Designer clothes creation, incredibly talented designers that are out there. So what I will be using is I bought a bunch of assets that I'm going to customize to use for Metahumans. So here we go. Library window, shirt of some sort, a basic tee. Gonna add, okay, a little small, but let's just run it. Okay. There we go, just kind of pull it through a little bit. There's our boy's shirt. So next step is we're gonna set up the UVs for this. So now that I have all these, I'm gonna come up here to the pattern window and go to UV editor. Let's go to auto pack. All right, our UVs are packed, and then we're gonna fit these a little bit more, give them a little edge right there. And also, just delete this fabric, and I wanna give it a little bit of color so it stands out. Let's give him like a nice dark blue shirt. So now that we have our UV set and our shirt created, make sure we're in the Marvelous Designer LiveSync mode, and we want our unified UV coordinates to work. We don't have any animation or garment simulation data. I want all of these shirts just to be one object, so I'm gonna click single and thin, and let's go ahead. Oh, are we still simulating? Yes, make sure you're not simulating, because that will make it not work. There's the clothes that we just created on our boy, look at that. Now that we have the shirt in here, now we're going to save it. I'm gonna save this object. Okay, we're gonna save it to our tutorial, and now it's gone. Boom, it went away because now it is now a static mesh basically. So if we were to come back in here, open this up, here's our garment static mesh that we just created. All right, now that we have created our shirt in Marvelous Designer and brought it back into Unreal Engine, now it's time to take the static mesh shirt and create it as a skeletal mesh to apply to our Metahuman. So it's very straightforward. The first thing we're gonna wanna do here is right click on our static mesh and convert to skeletal mesh. And we're gonna wanna make sure that we select the body that we created, demo boy skeleton. Yep, so we want to make sure that is the correct skeleton. We have put the skeleton in the skeletal mesh, but it's not rigged. You'll notice everything is still grayed out. If we try to move the arm, nothing moves with it. The shirt does not move with it. So all we have to do to fix that is come up to our editing tools here. Under the skin option, we're going to click edit weights. All right, we want to select the demo boy skeleton again, then we'll see it pop up, and we're going to click on transfer weights. Skin weight successfully transferred, and let's accept that. Great, so now if we come back in here and we move the arm, the shirt moves with it. So now if we were to open up and we jump into our Metahuman Blueprint here, here's our boy demo boy. We can just add a skeletal mesh, call it shirt. I'll put it under the body here. Let's go down and select our garment. There it is. Quick level sequence, demo boy test 1, add my boy demo boy here. Just add an animation here like this. We play this sequence, boom. The shirt is moving with our boy. And we have just created that custom clothes. So there we go. That's how easy it is to create a Metahuman in Unreal Engine, send the skeleton to Marvelous Designer, create custom clothes in Marvelous Designer. With the LiveSync pipeline is very easy in my opinion. This was just the basics. I'll be doing a more in-depth advanced tutorial coming soon. Just for laughs, let's go ahead and model some pants for this guy before we wrap up here. Come up to library and let's select some basic pants. We're gonna add this. They're pretty small. Let's scale them up a little bit. Alright, boom, boom. Let's make these also blue. Let's delete those. Super fun blue pants. Let's jump back to Unreal Engine here. We got to go to our flow LiveSync mode. Go to update. Here it comes. You can tell it's updating. So if this happens, We know why his pants are all messed up. So let's go back in here. Forgot to set the UVs. So come to UV editor, highlight all this. Let's repack them. Great. Let's make sure they all fit in there. There we go. Okay, much better. So now let's come back to Unreal and update that. All right, much better. Now our boy's blue suit is all ready. And then save these pants. I'll save them to our tutorial folder, custom clothes. Let's come in here. Let's go ahead and create our skeletal mesh of these pants. Great. Once we've made these the skeletal mesh, now we've got to skin them. So we'll go to edit weights for our Metahuman skeleton demo boy. Transfer weights. These skin weights have been applied. Let's hit accept. For now, let's save these garments. Let's add another skeletal mesh. Skeletal mesh, we'll call this pants. We already had those selected. Which is great. There's our boy's blue suit. Now let's come back in here and open up our demo test. And here he is, dancing in his super cool new suit. Look at that, there he is, dancing around. And it works. Clothes that we just created in Marvelous Designer. That's all there is to it. So that is the new updated workflow for 5.6. This is the workflow that I use for creating custom clothes in 5.6 for my Metahumans with Marvelous Designer. I will do another tutorial that's more in depth, such as creating custom textures and creating cloth assets and physics. That'll be next. But for now, I just wanted to get you started on how to create clothes and get clothes situated on Metahumans in 5.6. So let me know if this was helpful. Hopefully it was, and stay tuned. There will be more coming. Thanks, y'all. See ya.